Welcome to another edition of ESPN FC Live. Alexis Nunes alongside Nicol. Stevie and West Ham now on the brink of relegation after losing 3-1 to Newcastle. They desperately were in search of any sorts of points that would have saved them or helped to save them in their fight for survival. But unfortunately, it is all to do now for Spurs because they will need Spurs to lose pretty much their next two games, plus them to win against Leeds United. And the way West Ham are going, we just don't see that happening. But Stevie, overall, what did you think of the game?
Well, listen, I think for West Ham, I mean, we knew exactly what Newcastle would be. Last game of the season at home, they were going to come out and attack. Now, what we didn't know was what West Ham were going to do, but they had decided that they were going to attack as well. Starting with three at the back, try to get men forward. But basically, what happened to West Ham in this game is what's happened to them all season. They can't defend to save their lives. They end up going 2-0 down in such a short space of time after a good promising start. Try to get forward, try to be positive. But as I said, I mean, defensively, an absolute shambles. The first goal, it just smacks of a team that's going to get relegated. Goalkeeper plays the ball to Todido, who I'm not quite sure whether it's the keeper's fault or Todido's fault, but the ball ends up 10, 15 yards in front of him. He then goes to go and get it, and it's a 50. In my opinion, I don't understand what happened here. It looked like a 50-50 to me between Todido and the Newcastle player. And I thought, at the very worst, Todido should go and smash him. Just go and make the challenge. Or the option is you stand off and you keep the player in front of you. Instead, what did Todido do? Nothing. He got himself absolutely caught between two stools. He didn't go and smash him. He didn't get in a position where he could defend. And all of a sudden, he's out of the game. And the ball's in the back of the net. So, I mean, Voltemada, who's been pretty desperate recently, I bet he wishes he played against that West Ham defence every Saturday, or certainly every time he steps on the field. And so, right from the get-go, West Ham hamstring themselves. They lose another one very quickly. It's 2-0. And quite frankly, we all knew that there was only going to be one winner. The fact is, West Ham came back. They showed a lot of fight and a lot of spirit. And they went back to 4 at the back. But you can't give anybody 2 goals of a start in the Premier League. And you can't give anybody a 2-goal start when you need to win to try and stay in the Premier League. So, yeah, I mean, they were exciting at times going forward, as were Newcastle. But defensively, West Ham are shocking. And they're probably going to go down. It's not 100% yet, but it's pretty likely. And it really is, in my opinion, going to be because of what they have from a defensive point of view.
Yeah, exactly. And Spurs, of course, enjoy much better goal difference in comparison to West Ham. So they literally would have to hope for an unbelievable miracle and a catastrophic bombing of Spurs. If you have a look at the bottom 6 of the point standing here in the Premier League table. Now, Spurs do have a tough game, though, against Chelsea. As we said, that West Ham would have to as well beat Leeds, who we can't say are on vacation, but still are known for a scrap, Stevie. But what do you see happening? Spurs safe?
Yeah, I think Spurs will get a point on Tuesday. I absolutely think they'll get at least a point. And unfortunately, that means that the West Ham will be down. Listen, in order to stay up, regardless of whether Spurs lose the next 2 games, West Ham have to win.
Yeah.
And I said at least. They can't beat anybody right now. In fact, the only team they beat usually is themselves, as it suggested, with a 2-goal lead they gave up today. So you can't see them beating anybody, certainly not Leeds. And so regardless of what Spurs do, although I do believe Spurs will get a point against Chelsea, unfortunately West Ham are pretty much not down, but boy, they're kicking the teeth off it.
Yeah, exactly. They're not mathematically relegated just yet, but like we said, it is looking near impossible for them to save themselves this season. As for Newcastle, now just a couple of points off of European positions, but they're going to need a whole lot of things to go their way too, though. Stevie, what do you expect for them for their final game of the season, and what did you think of them today as we start to look back at their season?
Well, I think today Newcastle were always just going to go hell for leather and try and go forward, which they did. But they didn't have it all their own way. And the fact that you're playing against West Ham, the fact that they're playing against a team and they're at home who are probably going to get relegated, and actually West Ham could have got something out of this game, I think tells you where Newcastle are. I don't believe they've got a chance of picking up a European spot. They don't deserve it for what they've done in the entirety of the season. And really, it's just a case of Eddie Howe, who I think will keep his job, but they need to have a good think in the summer. They need to retool, and they have to do better next season, because this season's been it's been a roller coaster of good performances, bad performances, terrible performances, and then a smattering of games like today, where they were open attacking, and the fans probably enjoyed today's game. So yeah, for Newcastle, it's get this season over and done with, and move on to next year and try and do bigger and better things.
And then final question now, as it relates to a player that you did mention, and he did get on the score sheet today, Nick Voltemada, as well, as we keep an eye on the World Cup and thinking of Germany. How much did he give you and Nagelsmann to think about today, or did he help his case any at all, as we're expecting?
Well, I don't think today had any bearing on what Nagelsmann thinks. The one thing I would say about Voltemada is that why is he playing where he's playing, off the centre forward? To me, that's not his position. He's not a number 10. He's not a guy you want coming short and trying to make passes. He's a centre forward. He started his Newcastle career on fire, playing centre forward, scoring goals. But because of the change, Asula looks absolutely like Newcastle's number 9 now, and not Voltemada. And so, yes, Voltemada's going to the World Cup. Nagelmann's already said he's definitely gone. But I'll be interested to see what happens at Newcastle next year, because I can't see how Eddie Howe thinks that he's a guy who's best playing off the centre forward.
Well, final question, because as we said, Osula will probably be your pick for the number 9 at Newcastle. What do you think of his Michael Jackson celebration, Stevie?
Do you know it was that good? I never even noticed it.
He brought the glove out. Come on, tribute to the King of Pop. What do you think?
Stupid.
All right.
He's finding it hard enough to play football. Never mind dance.
Right. Oh, yeah. Maybe the dancing wasn't quite MJ, but I did like the glove. Steve.
Probably why I never recognised it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks so much. Thanks to Stevie, Nicol. Thanks to everyone tuning in to ESPN FC Alive today. We'll have more on the Premier League action that we saw all weekend long on ESPN FC later on. Make sure to look out for it.